Hello and welcome to a gameplay for all seasons. In today's Hogwarts Legacy video, I want to go through the places that I am most looking forward to seeing in Hogwarts Legacy. Now, we've already made videos about unusual things you could see at Hogwarts from the lore of the Wizarding World. In this video, I want to more talk about the places that we have heard of and why we should be basking in the fact we're about to, I say about, we'll see how long it is, but we're going to get, this game is going to be very good graphics, it's going to be very detailed, and we should be getting a very good interpretation of these places. Don't forget to subscribe if you are interested in Hogwarts Legacy. Loads of stuff to go through on our channel, loads of stuff coming up as well, and obviously we keep you up to date with the news. So the first place that I want to talk about then is the Black Lake. Now we know that the Black Lake, or the Great Lake, depending on what you call it, is going to be in the game, and I think this creates an interesting prospect. Now, why do I say it creates an interesting prospect? Well, if you think about how the Black Lake was very importantly used in the Harry Potter series, it was to go underwater, obviously as part of the Triwizard tournament. Now that's interesting because I'm wondering if they're going to have an underwater mechanic, because that isn't a really straightforward and easy thing to do necessarily. For example, we've seen in Horizon, they are about to put that mechanic into Horizon Forbidden West. It wasn't there in Horizon Zero Dawn, and a lot of people are quite excited about that because again, you can have any underwater mechanic, but to make it good and realistic takes a bit of work. So I'm looking forward to seeing if it's just something you can see, you can sort of swim around, or if you can actually go underwater, like it feels like you should, just because of what happened in the Harry Potter series. Now, the second place that I want to talk about is actually the kitchens at Hogwarts. I haven't mentioned this place on a few videos before. I really am quite interested to see this place because, as I say, magic doesn't create food, it has to be made. All magic can do is move it from one place to another, and there is kitchens in Hogwarts that you can get to in a secret entrance, and it is run by elves, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing what this place is like. It will be an interesting place to see because though we know that there's elves all around Hogwarts, we don't really see them much in the series or the books. So to actually see a place where you should see a lot of them would be quite interesting, and is a place I'm looking forward to seeing. So the third place I wanted to mention then, where I really want to see what they've done to it, it's one of the places I can't wait to go to, is the Forbidden Forest. Now, why do I say that in particular? Is because if you think about the Forbidden Forest, it's one of those quite emotive places. So when you go in there, it shouldn't just feel like you're walking through a bunch of trees. It has to capture the emotion that it was obvious was happening within the Harry Potter series, which is it's a very foreboding, almost slightly suffocating place, and they have to do that all in a way of making it feel like it's a live place full of life, but more where rather than life being directly in your face, things just wandering past all the time, it has to almost be in the shadows because that's the feel you have to get. So it's very easy to make the Forbidden Forest, although I'm sure it's not easy at all, but it's to me, the hardest part is actually capturing the feel of it and actually getting that to you as the player. So I'm really interested to see how they've managed to achieve that and whether they are going to manage to achieve that. So the next places that I'm looking forward to seeing here, and I know a lot of people are looking forward to this, and this is one of the main places why people are talking about doing several playthroughs, is to see the common rooms. Now, the common rooms are always interesting because you can interpret them slightly differently, so we don't have to have the common rooms exactly how we've seen them before. We know Hufflepuff was never in the films, it wasn't in the books, Harry Potter never went there, so they've got a lot of creative freedom with that. There are quite a few things that they have to follow, like we know where all the common rooms are, we know roughly what they look like. For example, Ravenclaw, we know that that is the highest of them and has a beautiful view across the castle, and that's a view I'm looking forward to seeing. But the reason I'm really mentioning about the common rooms is because the challenge here is for them to really make each common room feel different to one another. What you really want, again, it's the whole around the emotion, like capturing the emotion of the person playing. Like Slytherin should not be feeling like a cozy, warming place, whereas Gryffindor should be feeling much more warm, as should Hufflepuff. Are they able to capture a feeling in each of the common rooms that feels different, that makes it worthwhile trying all those different houses and doing more than one playthrough? So the next place I want to talk to is, in a way, almost could be considered the heart and soul of Hogwarts, which is the Great Hall. Now, the Great Hall appears extensively in the movies, essentially any game that you have for Hogwarts. But it shouldn't be forgotten, this is a brand new game. We are years ahead of where we were when prior games were made, and this isn't a mobile game. And the Great Hall is a very, very interesting place. It is, as I say, it's a place where you should be capturing the feeling of the season. For example, if it's Christmas or if it's Halloween, it's hard to believe there won't be seasons in the game. In fact, we know there is. I've made a video on that before, so you can check that out if you're interested. But it's not just that. We all know that the ceiling shows the weather And I just think it's going to be really interesting to see, in 2022 or 2023, whenever it comes out, what the games actually look and feel like. And just seeing that could be quite it should be one of the most impressive parts of the game. In the one trailer we've had so far, you can see the Great Hall, but you don't really see up into the ceiling. You get as far as the sort of floating candles, but really you should be able to look up. You should get the sort of full majesty and the full effect of the Great Hall. And again, playing into, very much in this video, I'm talking about the emotion, the feeling that all these places give. They can't just look like it. It's the challenge of giving a feeling. So again, the Great Hall has to give you that feeling, a place that you want to be and stay. So the next place I want to mention then, and again following the theme of emotions and how places should make you feel, is around Hogsmeade. So if we think to, again, the series and what we know from before, Hogsmeade should be giving you, certainly at the start of this game, because at the start of the game, it feels like you should be going to Hogsmeade, it will most likely be as part of the weekend trip out there. So it should have that feeling of a fun, relaxed, friendly place where there's lots of different shops to go to, and it should be given that feeling. The fact that we don't know that many locations in the game, we don't know if there's going to be a lot, but we do know you've got the Forbidden Forest, Hogwarts and Hogsmeade. That suggests, or almost means, that Hogsmeade has to be a big part of the story. It can't just be somewhere that you go here or there to buy some supplies. And because of that, that means that the feeling has to change at different points in the game. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point something happens where people aren't really on the streets, or you go there at night and there's something a bit more dangerous happening. So the fact you could get that sort of friendly, almost warm feeling that we often see, we see Hogsmeade a lot in the snow because it's got that sort of cozy feeling to it. So you need that cozy feeling, but then to turn that cozy feeling into something much more darker should be interesting. I can't have a list like this without mentioning the Headmasters Office. The Headmasters Office is obviously somewhere we have spent a lot of time in as a consumer of things in the Wizarding world, and it should be no different here. In my prior video, I actually spoke about who I believe will be the headmaster in this game. If that's interesting, you go check it out. But I think we should be spending a lot of time here. I can't believe you're going to have a Hogwarts game where the Headmaster's Office doesn't play a big part. But again, if you think back to the Wizarding world, the Headmaster's Office has a very different feel to many other places in Hogwarts. The feel we've had before is a safe location, again, almost cozy, but it isn't necessarily Dumbledore we're going to have there, or it's certainly not Dumbledore we're going to have that, and it's not necessarily someone with Dumbledore's personality we're going to have either. So they may try to get a different feel. It may feel quite unsettling to us to be there, and a place where we actually are there because we're getting in trouble, or because we sneaked in and then we shouldn't be there. So it will be interesting to see what they do with that. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like button so other people get it as well, and I'll see you on the next one.